On this episode, we break down what we believe would be the best Disney World attractions to turn into a themed resort. Today's September 12th, 2023. This is episode 599 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Quick note before we get started, I went back to edit the episode and realized that there was some sort of issue with my microphone where the volume was cutting out slightly, so I have done my best to adjust that, but hopefully maybe you don't even notice. Anyways, on to today's episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. If you're planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, we know that it can be very overwhelming, especially when it comes to booking those advanced dining reservations. But have no fear, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Now, before we dive into what we hope will be a very fun episode today, we had our first meeting last night with our team for the Main Street 16 Challenge, which is coming to you in April of 2024.
Woo!
We are super excited. We have a lot of new things coming. We have some announcements coming out very soon. But before we get into that, you do want to go ahead and get your room booked. And we do have our host hotel for this year. And who better to announce that than one of our very good friends?
Hey, Mark Daniel here. And guess what? It's almost that time again for Main Street Magic's Main Street 16. This is their third annual challenge. Now, if you don't already know, Main Street 16 is a 4-park, 16-ride challenge, all to benefit Give Kids the World Village. And it's happening April 25th through the 28th. And Main Street Magic has added a little extra magic by partnering with the MEI Orlando right here in Celebration, the town that Disney built. The MEI Orlando is the best place to pamper yourself before, during, and after the Main Street 16, with discounted room blocks as low as $119 a night. So I hope you'll be a part of Main Street 16 from April 25th through the 28th. Part social gathering, part team trivia, and part ride challenge, all to benefit Give Kids the World Village. To learn more and book your room, go to mainstreet16.com. Hope to see you there. Good luck.
Well, thank you, Mark, for that great announcement. We are so excited, looking so much forward to it. It was so fun last night when I was on the team call for a little bit. But yeah, between getting Kaylin and stuff, y'all got some good stuff done. I'm excited.
We have some really cool ideas coming, including a secondary challenge if the 16 ride challenge is not quite for you. So again, you can go to mainstreet16.com, get all the information, but you do want to go ahead and book that room at MEI Orlando. There are a limited number of rooms at that discounted price under our block, so go ahead and make sure that you book yours today.
Yes.
All right, today's episode is a no notes episode.
Oh my goodness.
No rules, just right. Outback sponsored episode.
No, we wish.
I wish. They could pay me in blooming onions. And I would be okay with that. But yeah, so we're actually recording several days earlier. We're recording on Friday for Tuesday because on the Friday, the September 15th episode is our 600th episode.
Which is the day after this Mr. Jeremy's birthday.
It is. So what a way to celebrate 600 episodes. We will be down in Disney for my birthday, Universal, the 15th to the 17th. So we want to get that episode recorded even earlier on the Sunday before, and it is going to be a super fun one. It was recommended by a listener. We got some work cut out for us to do it, so we need a little bit of time. But today's episode, we are going to talk about each park, and this is going to be just a conversation right off the top of our heads because we pretty much just came up with this in the car and didn't have much further discussion.
You mean
I mentioned it.
I was like, ooh, this sounds... I did. I said, this sounds really fun. I was like, why'd you pick this? Or how'd you hear about that? And you were like, because I'm smart.
Well, what this might even be is almost like this might be future theme park shuffle episodes that will actually flesh these out, because we're not going to go into big detail and design a resort or anything. That's definitely something for Logan and David and sometimes myself. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through each park and we're going to discuss which of those attractions in that park do we think would make a really cool themed resort on Walt Disney World property. After the conversation, we're going to decide on one, and that will move into basically kind of the winner for that park. So go through all 4 parks. At the end, we'll go back and say, out of the attractions that didn't make it, let's pick one more, and then we'll rank those 5 from 5 to 1 on what we think would be the best attraction-themed Walt Disney World resorts. Or even not Walt Disney World. This could be an idea that goes, global, and Disney starts building resorts throughout the world that are themed to different attractions. That might be something actually that would be super cool. If you could go to a hotel, in a major city or just outside of a major city or suburb that is themed to, a Disney specific attraction, that would be a lot of fun. So we're going to go backwards and start with Animal Kingdom, the youngest park. Okay. And what off the top of your head, attraction based, do you think would make an incredible themed resort?
Well, all of a sudden when you were kind of talking and I was seeing what was going on, I was like, I started thinking Flight of Passage, the Avatar stuff. I mean, I think that would be super cool because there's so many different things, I think, in Avatar where you can do different theming rooms or like, I don't know, all kinds of stuff.
I think it makes the perfect sense is an Avatar themed hotel. And you have so many storylines to work from as far as sections go. Right. We already know that Satali Canteen and the mess hall is a great food court option to go into a resort. Imagine having a fine dining experience because I would assume any of these would be deluxe resorts most likely. Yeah. Right. So you have a fine or signature dining experience, a table service that's based after Avatar and all. I just think you could get so inventive with everything that you do. So what I'm going to say is not necessarily Flight of Passage, but I'm just going to say Pandora is the one that would come out of here.
And are we just saying this is the winner? Or are we going to pick more?
No, I mean, it probably is, but I think of like,
is
there anything you would do with Expedition Everest as far as Himalayan style, almost think of the way that just say Blizzard Beach is designed. Yeah. Could that type of design in the Florida heat translate to make it seem like you're staying in a Himalayan, maybe this is one that is set up almost like a Fort Wilderness, but instead of cabins, there's yurts, or like base camps. And that's actually where you stay, where it's a glamping style.
Right, your base camp one.
Right.
And
so that could be an option. You could.
I mean, as long as it was still like a hotel where you could get air conditioned pretty low, where then you're like feeling like
these could literally almost be a cabin that from the outside and all is designed to look like a base camp or like a yurt or something like that. Yeah. So I think Expedition could go on there. Okay. You're not going to talk Kilimanjaro or anything because we already have Animal Kingdom Lodge. Animal Kingdom Lodge is basically
100%
Kilimanjaro. Dinosaur, I mean, combine almost the thought of the way that, Dino Land, and this is so funny because this is going to come out on Tuesday. So anything we say that then is announced at D23, we have no idea that that's coming. Destination D23 this weekend. Yes. We may see what's happening with Dino Land this weekend. So if you're hearing this on Tuesday and going, well, they already said what they're doing with Dino Land, we didn't know yet. Or we totally called it. But yeah.
Finally they're listening.
Right. No, but think of the way Dino Land was and Dinosaur is still. Do you think that could translate into a fun, I'm thinking more of a kids themed style resort in the way that a T-Rex restaurant
like the
is?
Restaurant? Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say dinosaur / I mean, like being in rainforest rainforest, but T-Rex and looking around and like seeing the different dinosaurs, like the mammoth and then the ice cave. Like I'm thinking that aspect. Yeah, you could do different rooms and different things like that, or have one section be the Ice Age mammoth kind, and then
You actually bring up a really good point there, because Disney, now I don't know that they own resort or theme park rights to Ice Age, but buying the Fox movie properties, they own the rights to Ice Age.
Yeah.
So that's even something. It could almost be a dinosaur/Ice Age resort. The only reason I think we cross this off the list right now is because they don't own the rights to Jurassic Park. And if you're going to do a dinosaur-themed resort, you're going to go Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Right? So let's take dinosaur off the list. So I really do think that it comes down to Pandora and Expedition Everest. And I mean, do you agree that Pandora is the no-brainer to come out of Animal Kingdom? I think so too. And again, I know we're picking a whole land, but think Flight of Passage.
Well, and I'm thinking too that like Expedition and the yurts, and that would be a cool thought. But what would almost work overall? And
I don't know what you could carry throughout the entire resort.
Right.
Because any of these, I imagine, telling a storyline or something like that. All right, let's move on to Hollywood Studios. Speaking of storyline, what if they turned Star Wars into some sort of 3-day, 2-night interactive cruise style adventure?
Yeah,
that
they
would be
tried
cool.
that.
So
we're
Star
not doing
Wars,
any
Star
not even,
Wars.
No.
But
which is sad, but they did it. They did.
I know. They did it. And it was a huge success for everyone that went.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see anything negative come out of it from people that actually went.
Right.
But this could, and again, theme park shuffle in the future, this actually could lead to saying, are these strictly themed resorts, or are they going to be storytelling 3-day, 2-night adventures the way that Star Cruiser was? Because Pandora is right on point for that.
Right. But then why can't, why does it have to be 3 nights? It was or why does it have to be? Can they figure out how to do 1 night or something
we
that?
may see what happens this weekend at Destination D23. Are they going to announce what's happening with the Star Cruiser? There were rumors out there that if they bulldoze it to the ground, they get a big giant tax write-off.
Yep.
I can't imagine that. I really hope they turn it into some sort of 1-day adventure or just a standard hotel. Even if they take the storyline and entertainment elements out of it the way that they were, get use out of that. I mean, depending on the price per night, count me in. I'm going.
Oh,
100%. So we won't do any kind of Star Wars because that's been done.
Mm-hmm.
I oddly am going to say Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. Can you imagine that being put into
all the storylines that the Mickey cartoons have?
Yep.
And I wouldn't per se actually say the Runaway Railway as much as I would just say the Mickey cartoons.
Yeah, agreed. And
so that would be hard, but you would relate it more to Mickey's Runaway Railway. So,
and I think very much and I could see this being a value resort, very much in the way that the All-Stars are, where it's over the top. It is kind of in your face. It's large, giant, Mickey and Minnie's and all of the gang, outside of buildings. Heck, you could theme each one. You could have the Fab 5 buildings throughout.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you could get
Rachel
super
would be
inventive.
staying in Donald.
Yeah, right. You could get super inventive with food and entertainment and all that type of stuff. All right, so Runaway Railway.
Have the what was the one where the corn, the
Potato Land?
Yes,
Potato
thank
Land's
you.
one of the greatest cinematic pieces of all time.
Okay.
I love Potato Land. We should watch it when we're done. Before we watch the
We're going to watch Little Mermaid.
All right, what else is sticking out to you? I have one that is going to be hard for me to beat. Tower of Terror. The Hollywood Tower Hotel.
Yeah, sorry.
I
was trying to think of what else. I was going Indiana. It was coming around Star Wars, and I'm Indiana Jones. I'm like, that'd be cool.
Say no to that.
But there's not a
we
ton.
We can put that on the list. An Indiana Jones themed hotel. An adventure hotel. That would be a lot of fun, especially if you go back and you think of the Adventurers Club and SEA and all those things from, that could fit into here really well. And they're bringing some of that stuff back, I feel like, over into the new Treasure with the lounge that they're having. So yeah, Explorers Club, Indiana Jones style could work. Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
I think
that would be cool.
The coolest thing
and
ever.
do the old stuff. So you have, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I know, but no, I want to know if you're going the same direction I am. Please continue.
Oh, you looked at me like,
I want to know if you're going the direction that I am.
old stuff like from the whatever year it was, not 1920s.
1920s, 1930s.
Yeah, and maybe even like some rooms with cobwebs in them. And no.
Here's what you do: you build adjacent to the Tower of Terror a exact replica in its heyday, before the lightning struck and before the accident. So it's actually the glitz and glamour hotel that is depicted in the intro before everything goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And it has exclusive access into Hollywood Studios via the Tower of Terror, that you literally walk from your hotel, which is all beautiful and it's 1920s, 30s, it's brand new. You walk through a tunnel basically, or covering, and as you go through that tunnel is when the lightning strikes, which could be depicted. And I know I'm getting all theme park shuffly here, but I've thought this out many, many times in my head, which then depicts your transformation into what happened. So next thing you know, you're walking into the lobby of the hotel you were technically just in decades after this horrible accident.
Okay.
And then you're now going to see the story of exactly what happened, and you're going to get to go on the ride. And then you exit, and you spend your day at Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
So I'm putting the TOT.
All right.
What else do we have over there? Rock and Roller Coaster. I think you're going to compete too much with either All-Star Music or Hard Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Hard Rock is going to beat Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster.
But that's what it
hotel
reminds me of. I mean, like being at Hard Rock, I mean, it reminds me of more
very
of
much
like
of that
type of thing.
We're not going to look at any Toy Story attractions because we do have that section at movies.
Yep.
Obviously, if they ever decided, hey, we're going to completely retheme movies, All-Star movies, I think they should retheme the entire thing to either Toy Story or Pixar in general.
That'd
I think would be very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you could keep the Toy Story section, change all the others to different Pixar elements. All right, I'm trying to think what else we have at Hollywood Studios that could be. Is Baseline Tap House considered an attraction? Because it is my overall number one pick. Funny enough, if you were doing restaurants, I mean, think of I guess 50s prime time is very much Pop Century. We have elements there. But again, we don't want to get into that. So, all right. So, who's your overall winner, and why is it Tower of Terror out of here?
I mean, because basically what you just said. So I would say
Wouldn't that
Tower
be
of
cool?
Terror. That would be. You did really well. So
and it could have a real fancy restaurant, and it could have where you get all
glitz and glam.
Yeah, you get all dressed up. It could have a ballroom that has special activities if they're extra paid or something, whatever. We could literally attend like these Hollywood parties. I think that'd be super duper cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Epcot, which I think is probably the hardest one.
Not really.
I mean, Remy and doing an entire Parisian hotel. Frozen could easily turn into an entire themed resort. So Frozen Ever After, they're doing the whole one now in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Remy would be a whole Parisian style hotel with a big focus on food, right? I mean, Living with the Land, would you do anything there? Like, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy in a Marvel themed hotel, but I don't think we're gonna pull that from here, right? Because you're gonna want to go full Marvel, which they're not gonna be able to do technically. So you're not just gonna have a Guardians hotel. I don't feel like. What if you took a combination of Mission Space, which is I know is god awful, but in Space 220 restaurant, and there was a space hotel.
I was thinking more along the lines of, since you said Living with the Land, my brain started thinking, and I was like, well, it's plant life and stuff, and then they just put that new Moana feature in. Yep. So what if you had like I hate to say it, but almost like a Polynesian, but actual like things growing around, like fruit, and I don't know how they can do that, but like I know there's banana trees all across property.
You could do your focus on conservation and plants and recycling and
maybe
composting.
Maybe
put Living with the Land. I'm trying to think of how that would look like. Think of inside of a room, or restaurants are easy.
Yeah. But I guess I was just trying to think of like what else there is at Epcot. And Epcot is like, that's why I was thinking no Marvel, absolutely, because like Epcot's still supposed to be learning and still supposed to be
getting
like
away from that a lot.
I know. But I feel like it's still I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
If
I
you
don't
could take, and we're not going to count this on here, if you could take any one of the World Showcase pavilions and base a themed resort after it, which one do you think you would pick?
Frozen.
You'd do Norway?
Norway.
Okay, so you do a Norwegian
Because then I was like
hotel
thinking
with
that would be
Frozen
cool too.
themes,
Like
yeah.
if you did, like that's what I'm thinking. Like not only the ride, but pulling all
Yeah.
the like Norway stuff from it. And I mean,
I would do
Or-
Japan, I think, or China. Just the architecture alone and what they could do with the
Yeah.
resort would be super, super duper cool. All right, so we have Frozen Ever After. We've got Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Living with the Land. I mean,
Frozen.
yeah, if somebody's asking on what's going to make the most money, we got Frozen. All
I'd
right,
stay at Frozen.
I would stay at Frozen. All right, we're going to move on to Magic Kingdom, and this I think we're going to have a long list of things that could be here. Tron, would you like to see the world of Tron brought to a themed resort?
That would be cool.
Okay.
You should see the movie.
I should. One of these days is like the 10th time I've said I'd watch it on
Mhm.
air. Jungle
Haunted
Cruise.
Mansion.
I was gonna wait for that. one, but Haunted Mansion 100,000%.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion.
Like especially now after both movies.
Yeah. Multiple rides throughout the entire U.S. that are all vary from each other. You could pull from any of them, and you could pull from Phantom
Or
Manor
all
or
of them.
something like that, or all of them. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
all
think
of them.
sectioning things off. Again, like the way that, and when you talk about sectioning things off, I mean the way the values are done, where they all
Yeah.
have themed sections.
Yeah.
So you could literally have themed areas around all the different Haunted Mansion, style rides throughout the United States, throughout all the parks.
Did Haunted Mansion just win? Just kidding.
Jungle Cruise. And what would that look like? Or is that pretty much Animal Kingdom Lodge?
I feel like that would
Okay.
be Animal Kingdom Lodge, as was I was thinking like the Switz Family Robinson.
Yep.
But
Unless you can
I
literally
haven't-
build tree houses.
well, they have those.
Well, I know they
over-
have them over at Saratoga Springs,
right.
but they're not
and I
tree
haven't
houses.
stayed in there yet.
They just
but
call but I'm talking, think about actual, how they have the fake baobab trees and
Yeah.
imagine using that, whatever they're building those out of, as making actual giant, well, heck, I mean, the way they did with Swiss Family Robinson
Yeah.
Treehouse, but actually having rooms within those.
Could you imagine like each one? Like
I'm putting it
being-
on the list. I think
That-
that's very
That
different.
would be amazing. But I wonder how much it would cost. And then like rain and
Bob
stuff.
Iger told me we had no budget. He said,
Uh-huh.
he said, sky's the limit, whatever you
Oh,
guys want.
Right.
And then he said,
Could you imagine how much they'd be a night?
I cannot. But I'm putting it on the list. I like that one.
And then how many stairs would you have to climb up to get to it?
Well, the way I
And then
see it,
There'd have to be an elevator.
the way
Oh,
I
my
would see
goodness.
it, this would probably be very much, these would be small areas. Yeah, I mean, they'd be small rooms. They'd probably have a setup much like the 2-person rooms over at Riviera there,
Mhm.
something like that. And I see each building almost being a tree. So maybe each tree has 6 rooms in it that, you go up through, and then there's another tree and another tree and another tree. I mean, this is the most ridiculous idea ever, but we're having fun with this. Pirates? An entire Pirates of the Caribbean themed hotel?
Yeah. Well,
That's-
they kind of tried to do Caribbean Beach and
They
the
did,
pirate
and they just had those rooms over in
right,
Trinidad, but they're all gone now.
which is a little sad.
Yeah. So I think we
Because
can
they were
keep that
cute
on
when
there.
we did it. We had
Yeah.
fun.
Is Carousel of Progress too much like what would have been
Like
the
the
legacy
themed-
years of Pop Century that never happened?
Yeah.
So, but do you think that could still go on the list, or that's kind of? I know it's not the same decades as Pop Century altogether. It's the turn of the century and all that, but is that something? Do you think they could do, or is that just kind of a silly idea? Because everything would just be props. It's not like you're going to actually have an ice box in your room instead of an actual fridge, just so it can be realistic. It would just have the facade
Right.
of that. So I don't know how that would really look.
But I feel like they could still do it where it
I'm sure they
looks like
could.
an
I mean, I
ice-
can put it on the list. Let's see what else would be really good throughout it. What about a Big Thunder Mountain Adventureland style Old West?
That'd be cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. So man, we're only picking 5. We're going to end up with 5 out of all these.
Well, I
Total.
mean, what about? I mean, it's not Splash Mountain anymore. It's Tiana.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
So would
If you do
uh,
that though, you're bringing that into Port Orleans. You know,
Okay.
you're gutting, well, not gutting, but you're redoing boat rights to Tiana's Palace.
Okay.
You know, you're taking different sections. I mean, the Alligator Bayou section is much like her upbringing, and then you have the Magnolia area that would be much like where you assume she is now, I guess.
Right.
So that would take such a light tweak, I think, to do that. Trying to think like, I mean, you're not doing anything with. I don't see anything with Space Mountain. You know, there's just not enough
then I feel
there.
like you'd have to put Epcot and Magic together and do
the space style restaurant
right.
like we were talking about a little bit, which didn't even make our list. I think that's a pretty good list because I don't see any way that Haunted Mansion doesn't come out of there.
And you already have Aerial Ride, and you already have an Aerial section.
Right, you already have
at Art of
sections
Animation
with that. So yeah. I mean, Haunted Mansion is a clear cut. All right, so here's what we're down to. We've got a Flight of Passage / Pandora themed hotel.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Tower of Terror themed hotel. Frozen Norwegian themed hotel and a Haunted Mansion hotel. Now, out of everything, we need a fifth one. So, what didn't make it is Expedition Everest, Runaway Railway, Indiana Jones style, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Living with the Land.
I think I'm going to say Runaway.
I didn't get through all the Magic
oops.
Kingdom ones.
Sorry,
we're not picking anything from those three parks, I imagine.
Oh.
We have Tron. We'll take Tron off the list. Swiss Family Robinson. Don't knock it. Pirates. Carousel. We'll take off the list. Big Thunder Mountain. Adventureland. Wild Wild West. So out of all of those, out of all four parks, what would you personally put in your fifth pick?
All right, how about this? What if we do Thunder Mountain Wild Wild West with the Disney like Runaway Railway? Almost like mix it because
So you're going to do an entire themed resort that is based in the Wild Wild West of the new Mickey cartoons.
Sure.
Okay, we can connect those two.
I mean, what else? I mean, because I thought the Runaway Railway was like a great idea.
I love it. I love that idea. But, all right, if we were literally tasked to come up with ideas to pitch to Imagineering, what's your biggest moneymaker out of those that are left? Pirates of the Caribbean? Especially if they're going to do a relaunch?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they still have all the Pirates of the Caribbean, really, with Johnny Depp. So.
I know. And those aren't going anywhere, and people still absolutely love them, whether they bring him back or they start a whole new, like franchise with Red as the lead or whatever.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It'd be amazing, I think. And then, all right, so we want to put Pirates in there?
Okay.
So now we have to rank these five. What do you think is your least favorite fifth one that you would do? These are
Pandora.
5 solid picks. You would do Pandora really as the fifth?
I think so.
Up against Frozen?
Yeah, because I would stay at Frozen way more. Because I still love Frozen.
Yeah. Would you put Frozen at number 4? Then?
Probably because I would love the Tower of Terror because I'm thinking of the glitz and glamour and the beautiful hotel that it would be. And the Frozen would still be like a kid. That'd be when I'm like, I want to be a kid this weekend.
Right. No, agreed. I would say, again, this is our ranking. Pirates would go third.
Okay.
Tower second. And Haunted Mansion's number 1.
Okay.
Do you know how many of these different things we do where Haunted Mansion comes out on top?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's overall ride, whether it's soundtrack,
Mansion.
whether it's resort themed, it's incredible.
Well,
so,
that's why it is 50 years old and going 51
more than
now.
50. Well, the one at Disney World is.
Yeah.
Right. You have the original at Disneyland.
Oh.
So it has been running for decades
way
now.
over 50 and still going strong.
It is. It is still one of the best attractions at any of Disney's theme parks that own some form or run some form of Haunted Mansion. So, Main Street Magic's top 5 attractions that we would turn into a themed resort at either Walt Disney World or anywhere throughout the globe. Mr. Iger. Number 5, Pandora, Flight of Passage. Number 4, Frozen Ever After, Frozen in general. Number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean. Number 2, Tower of Terror. And number 1, the one and only Haunted mansion.
Yes.
That was fun,
Yeah.
actually. Hopefully everybody else thought it was fun that's listening. That was really cool. This is something we're trying to do more of, is these conversational, just because this is literally like the type of conversation we would have on the way to or from Disney. This type of thing where I would just say something stupid like, hey, if you could turn an attraction into a hotel, what would it be?
Yeah.
And we would just start talking about it for 30 minutes. So if you like these episodes, let us know. If you don't, well, then I apologize, because we're probably going to keep doing them. But we really appreciate you guys listening. Please keep in touch, or in tune, I should say, to mainstreet16.com for all the different announcements. Of course, we will also announce on all our social media channels at MainSTMagic. We will announce right here on this very podcast, where you can get new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. If you hit that subscribe button, a lot of fun stuff coming up. We have a lot of trips coming up. And if you want to see some of that live in our private Facebook group, you can check out our Patreon group at wonderlandcrew.com. And finally, you know that we would be super duper thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review,
because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.